Greetings and welcome to the National 4-H Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony and Awards Program. Please stand and join me in honoring our 2019 laureates as they enter the auditorium. Please be seated. Hello, I am Wyatt Minahan, a Kansas 4-H alumnus studying agriculture communications and journalism at Kansas State University, a field that combines my interests, skills, and talents gained through 4-H. As a 4-H member, my 4-H projects included livestock, photography, and clothing. Today, I continue to use my 4-H knowledge working in the Kansas State 4-H office. I am pleased to guide this year's event as the Master of Ceremonies as we induct our 2019 laureates into the National 4-H Hall of Fame. I hope you enjoyed the outstanding musical presentations from our 4-H friends as much as I did. Kate Hobson from Georgia is a 6-year 4-H member, active in performing arts as well as leadership. As an active performer, Kate belongs to Clover & Company and enjoys performing at churches and nursing homes, spreading her love of music to people young and old. Joining Kate is Marco Hebert from Louisiana, a 7-year 4-H member that participates in a school 4-H club. Marco is active in 4-H shooting sports, summer camp, and 4-H University. He shares his talent to entertain at nonprofit events for both youth and senior causes. Thank you, Kate and Marco, for amazing performances. No one achieves greatness without being of service. Service is the essence of greatness and involves giving of one's talent and ability to serve of others. No matter how small our talent or ability, we too can make a great contribution in serving others. Each of our 2019 laureates uncovered his or her talent and gave much to 4-H. They knew intently what they needed to be done, loved what they were doing, and believed in what they were accomplishing. In their individual uniqueness, each laureate found ways to multiply his or her efforts. This remarkable class of professionals and volunteers has spent hours creating new 4-H programs to inspire rural, urban, and suburban youth, reaching out to underserved populations locally and abroad, and bringing communities together for expanded educational opportunities. Tonight, we celebrate each laureate's accomplishments and the impact they have had growing the 4-H program from the local level to around the world. Before we meet our laureates, I would like to share with you the history of the National 4-H Hall of Fame. It began in 2002 when the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents, National 4-H Council, and 4-H headquarters partnered to create this recognition opportunity during 4-H's centennial year. The National 4-H Hall of Fame recognizes 4-H volunteers, financial supporters, staff, and pioneers who have made major contributions within the 4-H movement at the local, state, and national levels. Each land-grant university from across the nation may nominate one candidate per year, while the founding partners of the National 4-H Hall of Fame may nominate up to 3 candidates. These candidates represent 4-H in the broadest sense. Candidates may have been a 4-H volunteer, financial supporter, extension professional, or staff employee who has significantly impacted 4-H through his or her contribution of time, energy, or financial resources. Through the past 17 years, we have honored many 4-H supporters and contributors. Tonight, we are privileged to have some of our previous 4-H National Hall of Fame honorees with us. Would all previous National 4-H Hall of Fame members please stand as we honor you and your dedication to 4-H. Thank you for joining us tonight to honor our newest laureates. At this time, let us take a few moments to remember those National 4-H Hall of Fame members who have passed since our last time together. We remain grateful for their 4-H legacy. At this time, we invite Janae Ray Keywood, Chair of the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents, National 4-H Hall of Fame Committee, to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Wyatt, and good evening. Welcome to the 2019 National 4-H Hall of Fame ceremony. I am truly honored to recognize this distinguished group of laureates and to welcome each of the family members, friends, and colleagues that are here to honor them. 4-H has influenced each of our lives in special ways, and this group of individuals that we are recognizing today have impacted the lives of many through their involvement in the 4-H movement. On behalf of the 3 partners that sponsor this event, 4-H National Headquarters, National 4-H Council, and the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents, the National 4-H Hall of Fame Committee congratulates each of you on this distinguished honor. Enjoy the evening and wonderful event.
Thank you, Jeanette, for serving as chair of the National 4-H Hall of Fame Committee. Please help me extend our thanks to all the committee members for their dedicated work to prepare for tonight's ceremony. Let us now welcome the extension partners to share their greetings with the 2019 laureates, families, and guests. Our first partner representing USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture is Dr. Caroline E. Krokel, newly appointed National Science Liaison and previously serving as the Director of Division of Family and Consumer Sciences and Acting Director of the Division of Youth and 4-H, overseeing strategic leadership and research, education, and extension in partnership with the land-grant university systems.
Thank you, everyone. And good evening. It is a good evening, isn't it? It's my distinct pleasure to bring you greetings from the United States Department of Agriculture and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. It's such an honor to be here with you tonight to assist in recognizing the Hall of Fame laureates and all of your contributions to youth and to 4-H. To date, there are over 300 of you. I think we counted between 350 of you. But in reality, you represent millions of professionals and volunteers who have selflessly given of them their time and their effort and their money and their resources to positive outcomes for youth. Those countless professionals and volunteers have been on my mind a lot lately as NIFA has been relocating from Washington, D.C. to Kansas City. And during this transition, the NIFA staff has had a lot of time to reflect upon their contributions to 4-H as well as those of others. And in the process of decommissioning the Waterfront Center in Washington, D.C., the 4-H staff and I have had a great deal of time to consider those who came before us and to reflect on that. And in the process of this decommissioning, we've discovered old historic 4-H documents, plaques, mementos, keepsakes, photos, even the Extension Workers' Creed and the Extension Workers' Code from 1929. Some of these items have been shipped to Kansas City, some have been sent to the National Ag Archives, and some, thanks to Jim Kaler's foresight, will become part of the 4-H History Preservation Project. So we're really pleased about that. If there are staff that have worked at CSR, EES, CES, or NIFA, I would love it if you would stand and be recognized. I know there are several of you here. Thank you. Tonight we honor your history and the exemplary contributions of this new class of laureates, the contributions that you've made to youth. The most powerful leadership tool that you have is your own personal example. Your personal example has made a tangible difference in the lives of countless young people across this nation and this world. Maya Angelou said, "If you're going to live, leave a legacy. Make a mark on the world that cannot be erased." And in each of you, that's what we're celebrating tonight. So thank you for all of your wonderful efforts, and I look forward to this evening with you very much. Thank you.
Next, we welcome to the podium Casey Mullins, 2019 past president of the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents.
Good evening, and thank you so much, Wyatt. It's an honor to be here. Dr. Krokel, thank you so much for your leadership, particularly with the NIFA transition. We certainly appreciate your effort and the effort of the NIFA staff. Also want to thank Jen McKeever for being here. This is truly a partnership between the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, the National 4-H Council, and the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents, and we couldn't do it without these two wonderful partners that are on the stage. I also want to call attention to Jeanette Ray Keywood and her team of Hall of Fame committee members. If you would help me by recognizing Jeanette and her entire team that have made this day and this evening possible. But perhaps most importantly, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Whether you're a laureate sitting on this front row, it's so good to see people that were my colleagues when I began in Extension, and others that have served as volunteers and advocates and stakeholders of Extension. I'm a product of the 4-H system, and it's an honor again to be here. Whether you're a laureate or whether you are a friend, family member, colleague, or just came in off the street, we welcome you for being here with us. As it's really been an honor of a lifetime to serve as president and now past president of the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents. Our history is rich, and it's enriched because each of you that we're recognizing here tonight. Earlier this morning, I had a colleague that sent an email to a group of staff members, and it was a blog post by Jennifer Scheich, and I think it reminded all of our hearts and our minds of the impact of people across the country, like our laureates that are being recognized tonight. This blog post was titled 5 Things That No One Tells You About 4-H. Number 1, it's not about you. And while I would say that tonight for our laureates, it is about you. You're sitting here tonight because you, like those 4-Hers, knew that it wasn't about you. It was about laying that foundation for young people to find a sense of belonging and demonstrate mastery in their 4-H projects. So the second thing was it means long hours and late nights. And I'm sure our laureates and many others in the room know about those long nights and long hours of sitting in the county extension office or sitting in the state 4-H office, completing an ES 237 report for NIFA or completing a grant report for some organization. But ultimately, we did it because of those young people. Number 3, you will feel scared sometimes. And that's certainly one of the things that among our young people, we know that they're going to feel scared sometimes, whether they're standing up and giving that presentation for the first time. My advice to our laureates is you may feel scared coming up these steps, but we'll help you up the steps, so there's no need to feel scared. The 4th thing that we don't always know about and nobody tells you about 4-H is that you will fail. And it's one of the things that we strive for those blue ribbons in 4-H, but there's a lot more learning that occurs when you earn that red ribbon or that white ribbon. And I want to thank our laureates for helping youth to fail. Each of you have helped a youth to fail, but more importantly, you've built them up after that failure and helped them to develop the resiliency skills to face life. And then finally, the 5th thing that they don't tell you about 4-H is that you can't have it all. And what this blogger meant by you can't have it all is there's difficult decisions that you have to face within 4-H. It's intentionally part of the process. It's part of that process that we call youth development. So I want to again thank you and thank our laureates for being here and helping young people learn each of those five things through 4-H. And again, on behalf of the 4,000 members of the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents, I both applaud and salute you. Thank you.
And our last partner from the National 4-H Council, we welcome Jennifer McIver, Vice President of Field Marketing and Partnerships.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to start by first just wishing you and wishing us all a happy National 4-H Week. I really cannot think of a better way to cap off a week of celebrating 4-H and the impact that our young people and this program makes than being here tonight to celebrate the accomplishments of our laureates. I am so pleased to welcome you home to the National 4-H Youth Conference Center. And I bring you greetings on behalf of Council's President and CEO, Jennifer Sarangelo, our Board of Trustees, and our associates here in Chevy Chase and around the country. National 4-H Council is so very proud to be a partner with NIFA and NAE 4-HA, and I especially, again, just want to take a moment to recognize and thank Jeanette Ray Keywood and the Hall of Fame Committee for all that they do to just bring incredible life to this celebration every year. You know, at National 4-H Council, we believe that young people can change the world and that all young people deserve opportunities to reach their fullest potential. As the nonprofit partner of Extension's 4-H Youth Development Program, our mission is to increase investment and participation in high-quality 4-H positive youth development. And it's really such a pleasure and a privilege to honor this class of laureates this evening because you all have led by example in doing exactly that. So thank you so much for your contributions to inspiring youth around the country and indeed around the world to turn their passions into purpose and to grow the skills to lead for a lifetime. Having a chance to read some of your bios and stories, oh my goodness, they are just absolutely amazing. I truly hope that tonight is one you'll remember fondly for years to come. Congratulations and thank you again.
Thank you for all sharing your inspiring words with our laureates and guests. Please join me in thanking our extension partners for their contribution and support for this special evening. As we move forward with tonight's celebration, we will meet each of the 16 honored National 4-H Hall of Fame laureates or their representatives. Each laureate will have the opportunity to share his or her contribution to the 4-H program. Each story will add to the rich 4-H tapestry across our nation. Please join me as we learn about the many ways these laureates have impacted 4-H through careers of service and leading by example. During his 34-year career, Charles B. Cox from Oklahoma led with a servant's heart. Beginning his extension career as an agriculture 4-H agent, Charles was fortunate to influence 4-H in several career roles and retired as the 4-H program leader and assistant director for extension. He served as advisor to OSU's collegiate 4-H when top club honors were earned nationally in 2000 and 2001. Demonstrating his leadership capabilities, Charles joined efforts with 4-H and Oklahoma agriculture in the classroom to increase agricultural literacy for thousands of Oklahoma youth. This collaborative effort earned grants that were used to create lesson guides and teacher institutes for strengthening agriculture curriculum statewide. Further evidence of Charles' leadership prevailed with the development of the Extension Internship Program, which provided college students the chance to learn firsthand extension work. In his collaborative efforts with Langston University and Oklahoma's Native Nations, Charles' innovative nature led efforts to reach the underserved audiences, where he procured and invested more than $2.6 million for programs designed especially for these youth. Oklahoma 4-H is honored to have nominated Charles B. Cox for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Charles.
Lead by example. You come on that side. Learn by doing. I want to take just a few moments to thank people that helped make this possible tonight. First of all, I want to acknowledge my good friend and longtime colleague, Jim Rutledge, who nominated me for this recognition tonight, and for my state of Oklahoma for supporting me in this process. I'd like to thank the committee and all of you that are part of this process for honoring me and for this recognition, and for allowing me to be a part of this esteemed group whom I've had an opportunity to work with some in the past, and to meet others during this weekend and to get to know them and to be inspired by the work that many of them are still doing for the 4-H program. A lifetime of good. 4-H has always been a major part of my life for as long as I can remember, from my very first 4-H speech and entry in the fair, and the volunteers that encouraged me and prodded me along, and the first, really the second county agent that was involved in my life, who whenever I was old enough to start going on trips and applying for awards and those kinds of things, he would call and harass me until I would get it done. And so for those that may be educators in the room and volunteers, thank you for what you do and what you continue to do. And for 4-H agents, sometimes you just got to pester them until they get the work done. But I appreciate those that were a part of that during my growing up years. 4-H has allowed me the opportunity to travel all over the nation, to go places that I probably would have never gone, to meet people I would have never known, and to do things that I would have never otherwise had the opportunity to do. I'd like to thank and acknowledge my wife, Natalie, who's here with me tonight, for all of her support over the years. I was a 4-H agent when we met, and people would ask her what I did. And you know what she would always say, well, you know, Green Acres. And well, that's kind of what I did. But I appreciate all the support that she has given me over the years. For the times that she was a 4-H volunteer, for the times that she had to chaperone trips and to go places and got the kids' entries in while I was at the Southern Region PLC meeting every year during the county fair. She also helped chaperone, and I have to admit that I don't miss the opportunities that I had to go to miss the Friday shopping trips because I was at Congress. I want to thank my daughters who are an important part of my life and all that they have done. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Known as an innovator and renegade, Richard J. Freeman of North Carolina earned these labels for his viewpoint that 4-H needed a career path. Richard dismissed the opportunity to move from assistant agent to full agent early in his career because he wanted to work with young people and volunteers. This gained the attention of two North Carolina 4-H leaders, and together they led the efforts to create the 4-H position. Richard joined the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents and chartered the North Carolina Association of Extension 4-H Agents Association, serving as the first president with 78 professionals. He also served as NAE 4-HA treasurer, and Richard urged board members to see past the line item and work together. In 1993, when North Carolina hosted the NAE 4-HA conference, Richard led the charge for fund and partnership development. The result was a professional development endowment for North Carolina's membership. Under Richard's leadership, everything turned 4-H green. Unfortunately, Richard passed away this spring. We are happy to have Richard's daughter, Dorothy Freeman Shutt, and his son, Joe Freeman, with us tonight to accept the honors on his behalf. NAE 4-HA is honored to have nominated Richard J. Freeman for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations to the Richard J. Freeman family.
Thank you. It is truly an honor to be here this evening. And although our dad passed away in March of this year, he would have been delighted to receive this honor. If he were here, he would say a few brief and heartfelt words of thanks. He would recognize all of those from North Carolina who made this honor possible, and then he would humbly exit the stage and, of course, work the crowd later. But he's not here this evening, so we're going to take this opportunity to brag on him just a little bit. So our dad, Richard, had a 38-year career in 4-H. He continued to be active in retirement as a tireless fundraiser, friend raiser, and supporter of 4-H. He was a 4-H agent, a mentor, and he began many firsts. He was the first to utilize teen 4-Hers as leaders in North Carolina 4-H camps. He organized the first 4-H junior leader retreat in the Northwestern District of North Carolina. He and fellow agents, Roland Flory and Latham Smith, began the behind-the-scenes efforts to begin the first North Carolina chapter of the NAE 4-HA. Simultaneously with his 4-H career, he served 30 years in the U.S. Army Reserve. He was the epitome of service to others, service to his community, service to his country. Throughout all of his accomplishments, our mother, Myrtle Freeman, was beside him, supporting all of his 4-H endeavors, making countless batches of fudge, cookies, and cakes for 4-H meetings and hospitality rooms, and guiding and supporting Richard's 4-Hers colleagues alike. Richard and Myrtle Freeman were truly a force of nature. Our dad did it all, from driving the 4-H buses, some reliable, some not so reliable, to helping hatch chickens, to growing pumpkins and gourds and sorghum cane and peanuts and corn, you name it, for the Guilford County Agricultural Fair, to dressing in costumes for 4-H skits, to managing national budgets and helping with administrative tasks at national conferences. Everyone who knew him comes up to me and Dorothy and begins with a twinkle in their eye saying, "I've got a story about your dad." He was a visionary. He was a kind man, a generous man, and he loved people. He put making the best better into practice each and every day. He and our mother had countless 4-H friends across the country, and he thought of his 4-H colleagues literally as his second family. We love you and we miss you, Dad, and tonight 4-H loves you too, And on behalf of our dad and our extended family, we thank you.
When you do something you love, you don't keep track of how long you do it, says Frances Hagel of New Jersey. She has volunteered for 67 years, but who's counting? Known as the Queen Bee, Frances enjoys sharing her talents of cooking, sewing, crocheting, and preserving foods with 4-H members as they make the best better. As leader of the Cologne Busy Bees 4-H Club, Frances urges youth to participate in public speaking contests, community service activities, and leadership roles. Through the years, Frances has coached 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren of her own, in addition to hundreds of other community youth. Involved in many ways, Frances has served on the New Jersey State Advisory Council, participated in 10 Northeast Regional Leaders Forums, and assisted with the New Jersey Forum Planning Committee. Nearly 30 years ago, Frances became acquainted with Kaori Endo, the Japanese exchange chaperone. A friendship blossomed, and then the two continued to stay in contact. Today, Frances leads a helping hand with Atlantic County 4-H leaders and 4-H fair associations. New Jersey 4-H is delighted to have nominated Frances Hagel for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Frances.
I'm not used to this stuff. Wow, what a great honor this is for me. I'd like to start off by thanking the National 4-H Hall of Fame Selection Committee, the New Jersey 4-H Nominating Committee, and all the leaders, volunteers in Atlantic County for this amazing opportunity. I was just 27 years old, mother of 2 kids when I started as a 4-H leader 67 years ago. In August of 1952, I took over a food and nutrition sewing club that had been chartered in 1941, called the Cologne Busy Bees, making this club in existence for 78 years. I am still the club leader at a young age of 94, with 3 children, 7 grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren. 2 of my great-grandchildren are active members of the Cologne Busy Bees. Over the years, I taught my share of children to sew, bake, cook, and get involved in community services. The Cologne Busy Bees has participated in a range of community service over the years, from making lap robes for nursing home patients, to adopting a robe for cleanup, to send goodies, to servicemen and women to adopt their grandmother. And also, the local fire company, we do their busing at their dinner. One of the more rewarding experiences is when former club members return to become leaders. But my tour was just limited to my club. I jumped in with both feet. I attended Leaders Forum, driven the bus to summer camp, and volunteered as a counselor. Currently, I'm a member of the Fair Association, the Leaders Association, and the Family Consumer Service. My friends and fellow leaders say, Franny, when are you going to quit? How do you give up something that you love to do so much? As many people say, I bleed green. The Cologne Busy Bees isn't a club. 4-H isn't just an activity. It has become a part of me, giving me lifelong friends. It's given me endless opportunities to learn and to teach, and I don't plan on hanging my shingle up too soon. Again, I want to thank everyone for all the hard work and the dedication, and all the laureates for their commitment and dedication to 4-H. I thank you.
The most rewarding part of being an extension has been the opportunity to work with and learn from the greatest group of volunteers and professionals anywhere, says Edward Horning of Pennsylvania, a retired 4-H and youth development agent and director. During his career, Ed emphasized the importance of volunteer development, leadership training, and community partnerships. Under his guidance, while planning 2 Northeast 4-H leader forums, Ed advocated to develop a state volunteer leadership endowment from the proceeds. During the endowment contributions, more than $5,000 annually for volunteer learning opportunities. Partnering with Dale Carnegie Courses, Ed successfully implemented classes for team leadership training with topics such as developing positive human relations, public speaking skills, and participant confidence. The Dale Carnegie 4-H partnership model soon was replicated in other Pennsylvania counties. Bringing communities together has always been at Ed's core. Following the Columbine shooting, he convened a task force that created Communities That Care to address children's behavioral risk. Another partnership adventure with the local Lions Club founded 4-H members raising 90 puppies for the Seeing Eye Incorporation. Because of his passion for 4-H, Pennsylvania 4-H is pleased to have nominated Ed Horning for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Ed.
It's really been an honor the last day in getting to meet some of the other folks being honored, and I think reflect on the past time that I've spent in the 4-H program. I think when I got the phone call from Michael Martin, who was my nominator, asking for some information that I'd been selected by my coworkers back in Pennsylvania, was probably one of the most touching moments in my life. Then with the little help in polishing up with Carol Skirman from Indiana County in Pennsylvania, was really surprised to find that it actually got accepted and I got a chance to be here. I think it goes without saying, and I'm sure all the folks sitting in the front row would share this, there are so many people back home, coworkers, 4-H members, 4-H leaders, that really made my career in 4-H a special experience that I'll always remember. Thinking about this, remembered coming down to the 4-H Center probably 30 years ago. We used to bring kids down for a spring weekend, and there was a leader that contacted me that had a 4-H'er that she thought would really benefit, but Patty didn't have any money. And we talked about it, and we made a couple of phone calls and got the trip paid for, and we invited a 15-year-old girl from Coburn to come down to our leadership weekend here at the 4-H Center. And although there were a lot of great things that happened that weekend, the picture that jumps out in my mind periodically as I think about it was when we were in the National Mall walking around and a plane flew overhead. And I swear you could see the plane like you could reach out and touch it. And Patty's eyes got big as saucer plates. As we were riding home and talking about our weekend down here, I discovered that it was her first time to be outside of her home county in 16 years. A couple of years later, I found out she got into the service and has probably seen a lot more of the world than this kid will ever see. The last person, or last thing I'd like to comment on was I met my wife, Lynn, at 4-H camp just 45 years ago or so. And I think besides being here, probably the birth of my 2 daughters is the most special thing that's happened in my life until I got the call that I'd been selected for the Hall of Fame. I think in closing, I'd like to share a posting I saw on Facebook recently. Growing up, my dad was my role model. He believed empowering kids was a way to change the world. I was one of those kids he empowered, while I thought I was just spending fun time with my dad. Because of him, I became a camp counselor, took a Dale Carnegie course, trained guide dogs, and traveled to 4-H leadership events. 4-H molded me into who I am. But my dad still just tells me, just do your best and everything will work out. Besides my daughter Lauren, my daughter Erin is here, and I think she probably didn't get to raise guide dogs, but had a lot of similar experiences. And I think all three of us, and my wife included, have 4-H experiences as kids and adults. And I think it's just been a tremendous experience. And tonight will be one of those moments that I cherish almost as much as Patty's big look at that airplane. Thank you very much.
Lillian Larwood, a 10-year Oregon 4-H member, excelled in 4-H locally and statewide. Her successful 4-H experience was the beginning of her 33-year career in Extension and 10 more years as a part-time 4-H International Program Coordinator. Throughout her career, Lillian developed and redefined her skill sets that made her extremely valuable to 4-H staff, volunteers, and in her communities. She worked extensively with 4-H volunteers, creating significant educational programs and conferences. Lillian directed her efforts to work with other Western 4-H volunteer specialists to create a making initiative for volunteer recruitment. Her strengthened 4-H volunteers base. For 6 years, Lillian served as the assistant program leader, providing leadership for professional development, risk management, and promotion and tenure. Her work created a strong faculty base to engage with the 4-H volunteers. Since retirement, Lillian continues to provide leadership for growing the 4-H endowment to engage youth in global citizenship, where she found her own passion as an international 4-H youth exchange delegate. Under her leadership on the 4-H International Board, Lillian encouraged culture programming into the overall 4-H program. Adding to many other awards throughout her career, Oregon 4-H is honored to have nominated Lillian Larwood for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Lillian.
Hi. I want you to think about something and think about what is in common with 11 hours on a bus, 16 hours on an airplane from a major city in Eastern Africa to here, Washington, D.C., Superstorm Sandy, another 6 hours on a plane from the East Coast to the West Coast, and Halloween. As was mentioned, I've been quite involved with the global citizenship part of citizenship as a total. And one of the things that I think got one of the biggest rewards out of happened about 7 years ago, when Oregon was able to host a group of teens from Tanzania for a short course. And all of the things I just mentioned happened on their trip to Portland, Oregon. They did arrive in Washington, D.C. with Superstorm Sandy. They were sent the next morning on probably the last plane that got out for a few days. And those poor delegates, I think they thought they were being sent home again because they spent all their time on the airplane. But this was around Halloween. We had a great time with them. The program I mentioned was a short course, and it was in leadership development, communication skills development, volunteerism skills, which was very new to them, because the concept of volunteerism is not the same everywhere in the world. And I see somebody out there shaking their head like this. That is very true. And the biggest eye-opener was youth-adult partnerships, where the youth and the adult were equal in that partnership. Very new concept. One of the things out of the program is they had to come up with a project that they did when they went home. And now visualize, you are going to raise chickens, and you can sell eggs or you can sell meat, and then the money that you get from them, what you can do is buy solar lanterns, and then in villages where there's no electricity, that works really well. So what I'd like to close with saying is, Tuesday of this week, I received the following email. Long time not hear from you. For my side, I am fine proceeding with my studies. A last and fifth year now, am going to finish my first degree of Doctor of Medicine after the first 2 months holiday. I'll be graduating in 1 year, and this came from one of the young women that was on the program that came 7 years ago. And she will be a doctor soon in her home country. Thank you.
Providing youth opportunities to learn outdoor life skills is a key motivation for Donna McNear, former Assistant Director of New Jersey 4-H Camp and manager of Iowa 4-H Clover Wood Camping and Retreat Center. Using only a hanger, garbage bag, and duct tape, Donna can repair or restore life to any broken item on the campgrounds. As director, she would rent facilities, recruit summer employees, and maintain the facilities. Donna earned a gift for upgrading facilities at the New Jersey 4-H camp, which included establishing the finishing program. In addition, Donna became a certified 4-H shotgun instructor, working with volunteers in youth firearm safety. Known as a futuristic person, Donna knew the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents Board needed a transformation and set her sights on gathering information to persuade others that change was essential. Under President Donna's leadership, the NAE 4-HA board engaged in lively discussions on issuing the honoring traditions while adjusting to meet members' changing needs. Recommendations including reducing the meeting days and increasing the use of technology. These efforts led to a more professional development opportunities for the growing membership. NAE 4-HA is happy to have nominated Donna McNear for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Donna.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank NAE 4-HA for nominating me, and a heartfelt thanks to Ricky and Ron Leal for their efforts in my nomination credentials, and to all of you who are here to celebrate my nomination, as well as those who are here, this wonderful laureate class. You know, folks, I don't live my life looking through a rearview mirror of what I've done, rather taking those experiences and see what lies ahead and what I can do to impact our world, as well as being a force for acceptance, compassion, and being a good neighbor. I urge all of you to do the same. I believe in positive youth development and providing youth and adults with meaningful opportunities so that they can become the best people that they can be. Truly, isn't that what the motto, "To make the best better," is all about? I will end my comments silently because there are so many disenfranchised people in the world who may not be able to hear my words. Thank you.
West Virginia's 4-H colleagues believe Rita J. Marks was a transformational leader during her tenure as a 4-H specialist and state leader, participating in camping, career education, Clover Buds, and 4-H expansions for new audiences. Her leadership offered week-long statewide residential camps at Jackson's Mill that impacted 300,000 youth, developed career awareness and self-aware camps that were replicated in other states, designed and implemented 200 lessons for 4-H Clover Buds, and took the 4-H program to high-risk public school students to reduce dropout rates. Enthusiastic about higher education, Rita directed an advocacy team to generate support for West Virginia University by engaging more than 2,500 people for gathering recommendations. While at the West Virginia University, Rita served as the chair of the Faculty Senate and Athletic Council, the first and only extension professional to chair that either. As a 4-H member, Rita learned servant leadership philosophies that she has practiced throughout her life. She has created an endowment for training 4-H volunteers and staff, providing lodging for students, assisted hurricane and flood victims, and led efforts to provide Thanksgiving dinners for low-income families. West Virginia 4-H is pleased to have nominated Rita J. Marks for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Rita.
Good evening. It's my honor and pleasure to be here. Obviously, I'm humbly proud. This is really an opportunity that I never dreamed of, not even nightmared about. Would like to say that this opportunity is rare, that you have enjoyed your work 98% of the time, and here you're being recognized for it. If we don't count the other 2%. Professionally, the program accomplishment that I have worked with has been done by the county extension faculty and by volunteer leaders. For me, that's where the rubber has met the road, is when they are working with relationships with the 4-Hers. It is those folks on the firing line that have changed many, many lives. My role was to work with the county faculty and the volunteer leaders to encourage them, to give ideas, and to help solve problems, which we did have a few. But going to my own life, I would like to say there are 3 foundation blocks. One was my family and friends, my faith, and 4-H. The experiences that you have, you get many teachable moments. There are 2 that I thought you might enjoy of the million that I've had. This goes back to 6th grade, 1944, project with chickens and sheep, carrying a few dozen eggs in a brown paper bag because I had a sales route to the teachers in school. I fell going up the 2nd floor steps. Obviously, egg on the face and every place else all day. Then the next scene I'd like to share with you was 1949, my first state 4-H girls camp, and my first thing where I learned something about a good grooming event. My first experience involved going through a line and people telling you about your posture and all that. And then I came to this nice lady who talked about my hands, and she said, you really shouldn't chew your fingernails. And I didn't have the courage to tell her that I cut my fingernails with the same knife that I did the sheep hooves. So obviously I've had many learning experiences, but my foundation would not be complete without the mortar, and that's been the relationships that I've had with others and with friends and family. The kindness of everyone is outstanding, and I would like to close by saying the kindness is shown, and I'd like for them to stand. My support group that came tonight, would you all please stand, my friends that are here and my family. Thank you very much.
A fellow Wisconsin colleague says Donna Minnert's integrity, vision, wise team leadership, nurturing style, and hard work led to many contributions in the 4-H program. Known for her expansion efforts, Donna formed 16 new 4-H clubs, increased urban enrollment from 77 to 489, and created Days Camp that involved more than 2,500 youth over a 14-year span. Promoting 4-H with a twist, Donna joined forces with 100 urban, suburban McDonald's restaurants, supplying 120,000 sets of 4-week packages, which were distributed to customers. As a youth development agent, Donna created a robust volunteer system which provided 4-H experiments with 40 community clubs and short-term learning opportunities with 3,000 youth annually. Serving as the Associate State Program Director, Donna implemented youth protection, statewide policies, and redesigned the website to feature staff and volunteer resources. She authored and co-authored with others to develop educational resources such as risk management, club financial management, and dealing with staff and volunteer concerns. Throughout her tenure, Donna provided guidance and mentored colleagues. After she retired, Donna served as a Board of Trustee member for the Wisconsin 4-H Foundation to assist with organizational restructure. Wisconsin 4-H is honored to have nominated Donna Minert for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Donna.
I'm honored and humbled to be standing before you today. My sincere thanks to the Hall of Fame Committee, National 4-H Council, National 4-H Headquarters, and the National Association for their partnership in supporting the Hall of Fame. As laureates, some have already mentioned, we all know we're here because of the support of others throughout our 4-H experience. In my case, it was my parents, my husband George, our sons Chris and Ryan, 4-H members, 4-H volunteers, community leaders, and colleagues. I'm honored that my family and a number of retired colleagues are here who have become lifelong friends, and they're here to celebrate this occasion with me. What an honor to be recognized for working in an organization that means so much to me. I would say I was one of the lucky ones, lucky to be born into a family that was already involved in 4-H. In fact, the 4-H roots ran very deep in my family. Because of my robust 4-H experience, I decided on a career in 4-H youth development as a junior in high school. Again, lucky for me, things worked out. I was able to realize the goal and provide leadership at the county and state levels and beyond. My initial focus as a 4-H youth development agent was urban expansion. My mission was to find ways to invite and engage youth and families to participate in 4-H. I quickly discovered that 4-H was a program that urban residents knew little or nothing about. And if they had heard about it, they usually thought it was a program for farm kids who owned cows. Together with my first colleague, Jean, and 4-H staff assistants, we worked to remove barriers to participation. For example, we created a horseless horse program so youth without the means to own a horse could still participate. We eliminated the need for year-round membership in 4-H so migrant kids who were living in our county part of the year were able to join 4-H in the time they lived in our county. And we teamed with an English as a second language program so language barriers didn't need to serve as a barrier to 4-H membership. I carried these early experiences with me throughout my 4-H career as it continued on. As we look toward the future, my sincere hope is that the 4-H program continues to build on its rich history. We must continue to push beyond the experience of being lucky, like me, to be born into 4-H, and one that is known and accessible by all youth and their families. I'm looking for a 4-H program that is accessible to all people. I believe 4-H is uniquely structured to provide relationships with others that are different from ourselves in residence, gender, age, color of skin, beliefs, sexual preferences, and many other differences that so deeply separate us throughout our country today. I want to see a program that continues to evolve and breaks down the barriers to participation and truly reflects the demographics of the community. I hope for financial support, public and private, so that we can have a program that is supported with staff, resources, and volunteers. My thanks to all of you for being here, making this occasion so special.
With more than 40 years and unwavering service, Ruby Miller of Louisiana has made significant contributions to 4-H as a member, leader, and professional. As a parish club leader, Ruby coached youth in livestock, foods, entomology, and horticulture demonstrations, personal development, public speaking, and photography event contests. She logged hundreds of hours annually in preparation. Ruby became a teacher and challenged the 4-H junior leaders to assist with the low literacy rate in the parish schools. With the challenge accepted, Ruby wrote a $1,000 literacy grant that aided in developing a literacy program featuring books, games, and reading buddy time as part of the classwork. Positive results were supported by an increase of scores. In 2006, Ruby served as the Cameron Parish 4-H agent, reaching 1,000 youth and volunteers in one of the lowest populated parishes, with 4-H member retention rate one of the highest and nearly 2,000 hours recorded by the local volunteers. When Hurricane Rita hit, Ruby's home was damaged, yet she was in the community assisting with recovery efforts. Ruby has been an inspiration to 4-H youth, volunteers, and agents throughout the state. Louisiana 4-H is proud to have nominated Ruby Miller for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Ruby.
I want to thank the National 4-H Hall of Fame Task Force for making this night happen, and all of the family, friends, and coworkers who come to share this recognition with me tonight. I would like to introduce each one of you, but only have 3 minutes, and this young man will walk up and stand on the side of me. But you're all worth so much more than that. Most of us come from different states with uniquely different backgrounds, practices, and expressions. But everyone in this room fluently shares the language of 4-H. So when I say over many years, I have watched thousands of youth 4-H members grow into productive adults, you all understand exactly what I'm talking about. We've all seen them become farmers, communication specialists, doctors, lawyers, teachers, bankers, veterinarians, therapists, police officers, wonderful mothers, caring fathers, and some are still discovering their true calling in life. Some struggle during their 4-H journey to rise above the challenges and overcome obstacles to their personal success, and then some seem to have it all together from the very beginning. I have no doubt about the role 4-H agents, volunteers, programs, opportunities played in making a real connection to each of these individuals. I am proud to have served for more than 40 years backstage as a 4-H agent and volunteer, but to have witnessed, along with many of you, from the front row, many life-changing moments for young people. That's what we do. Deeply Honored describes how I feel about receiving this recognition and being among this outstanding group of laureates. And I just want to say, merci beaucoup from Louisiana. Thank you very much.
Les Nichols always thought if people knew and respected each other, peace would be possible. This belief, along with former director of 4-H and young men and women, Edwards Ayton's idea of developing an agriculture exchange program to help people learn and appreciate culture, guided the efforts of engaging 4-H with the world peace through understanding. This first exchange occurred in 1948 with 17 United States 4-H members traveling to 7 Western European countries and 6 Europeans to the United States, hence the International Farm Youth Exchange. Since that initial experience, more than 4,000 exchanges, partnering with 16 countries, involving more than 30,000 host families have taken place. To help coordinate the 4-H type program spread around the world, 4-H provided a logical delivery method. As a forerunner in the 4-H international movement, Les provided the guidance for expanding the global outreach for today's program. Francis Presley, 4-H Council's International Program Director, said, "The world is a better place because of Les, his devotion to 4-H and his tireless work ethic." Les passed away in 2000. National 4-H Council is privileged to have nominated Les Nichols. Congratulations are extended to Les Nichols' family, represented by his wife, Esther.
I have a short poem by my mother. My mother and my husband were great buddies. The poem is A Walk at the Lake. I lave my soul with waters cool of wind-swept lake and reedy pool where willows drip their fingers in the sun. And I might also mention that I am 101.
Enhancing the well-being of others was a fundamental belief of Marilyn Norman throughout her 4-H career in Illinois and Florida. As an agent and unit leader in Chicago, her focus was on designing curriculum and programs for improving family relations to reduce violence. This information has been successfully used by more than 400 Chicago agencies, inner-city families, and church congregations. As Florida State 4-H program leader, Marilyn embraced a daunting strategic plan that resulted in 4-H program enhancements and increased funding. Marilyn's leadership successfully guided a grassroots legislative action for $1.5 million contribution to 4-H annually. This funding allowed Marilyn's vision to create 5 regional 4-H agent positions that mentored and supported county agents, resulting in an attrition reduction of 13%. She also re-energized Florida's camping with more than $500,000 by building partnerships and writing grants, increased external funding partners, which created a cultural change with the Florida 4-H Foundation, and implemented volunteer screening policies for ensuring the safety of 4-H members. Nationally, Marilyn served on curricula teams that wrote Leadership Skills You Never Outgrow and Family 4-H. Florida 4-H is thrilled to have nominated Marilyn Norman for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Marilyn.
I got to tell you, Esther, when we went into the little room next door, said, "I think I'm older than you are." And I think she's smarter than a lot of us. First, thank you to our federal and national leadership. You've done a lot to keep us together and to keep us moving forward. And to the organizers of this joy-filled event. This is terrific. I really appreciate what you've done. Next, thanks to my husband. Steve is out here somewhere. He'll be 50 years this year. I want to thank our dean. Thank you for coming. Our program leader. Thank you for coming. 4-H programs leaders, the friends and the colleagues who are here today, the mentors, the organizers, the creative designers, the resource people, the global travelers, and all of the partners that we've had a chance to work with over the many years that I've been in Extension. They have made my engagement in 4-H enjoyable, growth-filled, and meaningful. Growing up on an Iowa farm Extension was part of my family's life. 4-H was the organization to join at that point in time. I went to a one-room schoolhouse. It's amazing. My club and my community volunteers established a welcoming place to learn, to share, to have fun, as many in our organization do now. The county fair was a wonderful place to be, and it kept you motivated to keep going and to strive for more. My first job with Extension was in Central Illinois, where I learned the importance of volunteers and the importance of organizing a strong youth-based program. State 4-H staff were motivators and mentors. I will always appreciate their tireless work, friendship, and caring attitudes. When I moved to Chicago as a 4-H agent, it was a different world. 4-H in urban areas can be a very different place. We conducted 4-H programs in community centers, and we tried to provide quality learning environments in schools. We wholesaled the program. It was very difficult to go into community clubs because of the environments. We also ran into some very unique challenges. I moved to positions of unit leader in Lake County and Chicago, but the move to Florida as the district extension director and then a state 4-H program leader made my work with teams absolutely imperative. As I moved into administrative roles, it became my focus to support our faculty, our volunteers, and our youth. Listen to them, learn their needs, and help them be successful. At all levels in my career, it's the involvement and contributions of youth, parents, volunteers, agents, faculty, specialists, administrators that keep this program alive and well. And I salute you and all of those who make it continue to happen. Thank you.
Arizona 4-H's former leader, Dr. Bill Peterson's strong conviction for positive youth development guided his extension career in 5 states. In each 4-H program, his vision and leadership increased access for youth, resulting in membership growth. Bill's highest achievements were through his efforts with international programs. In Colorado and Arizona, he administrated the international exchanges with Japan and established policies and procedures for long-term funding. Bill's leadership provided a strong foundation for the 4-H Japanese exchange to include both summer and year-round exchanges. Prior to becoming the state leader, Bill was called upon to lead an external review of the Arizona 4-H program. Bill interviewed faculty, staff, volunteers, and teams for the program prioritization. The outcome focused on leadership training for youth and volunteers. Ultimately, Bill's leadership supported the establishment of the University of Arizona's Institute of Children, Youth, and Families. Maximizing talent, Bill unified the Western region by encouraging states to have shared resources and program ideas for a greater reach to broader audiences. He is truly missed by those he impacted since his passing away. Arizona 4-H is honored to have nominated Bill Peterson for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Accepting on his behalf is wife Judy. Congratulations to your family.
Thank you on behalf of Bill, myself, and our family for this very special recognition. With me today are our daughter Carrie, our son Kevin, and granddaughter Kate. And I'm sure many of you noticed Bill's twin brother, Warren, here today too. It has been 3.5 years since we lost Bill, but memories of his energetic, passionate life are in our thoughts every day. He grew up in the small farming community of Cromwell, Minnesota. He laughingly told me his only real 4-H accomplishment of those early years was when his beloved second mother, Eva Alberg, a Minnesota 4-H Hall of Famer, helped him win the Good Grooming Award. Bill's his career life began as a vocational agriculture teacher. But after 4 years of teaching, while completing a master's degree at the University of Wisconsin, he saw an arrow under a sign that said UW Extension interviewing here, and he followed that arrow for the next 32 years. In Sawyer County, Wisconsin, Agent Bill decided 4-H needed a county fair where 4-H projects, including animals, could be shown. Land was donated just on the edge of town, but there was a little problem. A building was being built without a permit. Oops. He was quite incensed when a judge chastised him, calling him that curly-headed man. But the permit was granted. In Wright County, Minnesota, County Director Bill Peterson began pursuing a doctorate. But when considering a regional leadership position, Leonard Harkness advised Bill to seek experience outside of Minnesota. Thus, we moved west to Montana, then Colorado, then Arizona. The Petersons weren't a 4-H club family, but we nevertheless learned what it is to be people dedicated to our community, our country, and our world. We are proud of the strength of Bill's convictions. His efforts to initiate volunteer certification met with a great deal of controversy, but he persisted. He led the statewide program of character education, incorporating it into all 4-H projects and events, including livestock. He worked hard for international exchange programs with Japan. His friendship with Tetsuo Miyazaki was special, especially his efforts to speak Japanese with a Swedish accent. Very important to our family is the Tourette Association. Bill led our Arizona chapter to expand statewide by helping the struggling board of moms do strategic planning. He called it herding cats. Hundreds of families have been supported as a result of his leadership. After retirement, Bill just couldn't quit. He devoted most days of the week to interfaith community services, driving folks to medical appointments, doing taxes for a low income, and delivering Meals on Wheels, all while helping my dad, who had Alzheimer's. Bill was so proud of his career in 4-H. He and we made so many wonderful, lasting friendships. Julie Adamson, thank you so much, wholeheartedly, for nominating Bill for this honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Let's go conquer the world, or in Howard Scott's situation, let's go make a difference in Wayne County, North Carolina. A program innovator for more than 30 years, Wayne exemplified the meaning of bleeding green by being a compassionate, dedicated, and hardworking role model for boys and girls. His leadership led North Carolina in the early years of the Social Age Child Care 4-H initiative. North Carolina alone accounted for 40% of the entire school-age child care program. Howard's progressive thinking shaped North Carolina's professional 4-H agents training by adding the 4-H agent graduate study hours and courses designed to expand knowledge and provide support for field agents. An ultimate public servant, Howard is sought after by government entities and community groups to resolve societal issues, known for going beyond the call of duty. In 2011, Howard was bestowed with the Order of the Longleaf Pine, a prestigious award given by the North Carolina Secretary of State for extraordinary service. North Carolina 4-H is honored to have nominated Howard Scott, its very own fireball, for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Howard.
Standing before you at this time is someone who's truly blessed. Because I had 35 years to work in 4-H and with Extension. After being a 4-H'er for 9 years, showing a steer at our local livestock show, doing 4-H presentations, and yes, I know you have to have an introduction, a body, and a summary, so this is the same way. and also learning some skills for being club officers and county officers in the county council, and also completing those project books. And I want to let you know that standing before you at this time is the 1971 Wilson County, North Carolina Health King. I wear that proudly. I am so blessed because I knew when I was in 11th grade in high school what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be a 4-H agent, and I had that opportunity to do that. But I'm also blessed because of the mentors that I had in my life. And one of my mentors was Dr. Dalton Proctor, the Assistant Director and State 4-H Leader in North Carolina, who taught me about working with people. Dr. Mike Davis, Assistant Director and State 4-H Leader, taught me through his passion for 4-H that 4-H can really expand and do even greater things. And then to Dr. Chuck Black, who was the Director of Cooperative Extension in North Carolina, who taught me how to have a vision. All these three people, I'm proud to say, are in the National 4-H Hall of Fame, and they truly deserve to be so. I was also blessed with the county staff that took some wacky ideas on a Monday morning and made them better ideas. And they accepted the challenge, is that the challenge of let's go conquer the world, and they truly did that. I was blessed with the state staff also, who challenged me to do more than just contribute to my local county, but learn to be a mentor and also contribute to other people in other counties and even in the nation. When it all comes down to making this world a better place, it would not be possible without our 4-H volunteers. Volunteers are people who work directly with youth, but also volunteers who work on extension advisory councils. They have made a significant contributions to our extension program. Adult volunteers who care about other people, who make a positive impact upon our youth and therefore positively impact our community. And most of all, I'm blessed because of a family and also my extension family that cared about me even when I was probably more focused on extension in my career than I should have been, who paid attention to a lot of things, when I really should have been more focused on other things. If I had to do it over again, my mistake I made, I did not get a chance to recruit other outstanding 4-Hers who had leadership skills to come to look at extension as a career. Yes, I'm a blessed person because of the people who have been in my lives. They encouraged me when I did not know what to do. They helped me to reason how it can be done. And I thank the State 4-H staff, North Carolina National Council, and NCAA 4-H agent for this honor, for I am truly humbled.
Learning by doing is what L.C. Scramlin of Michigan believes and applies to life. This phrase guides his leadership and devotion in promoting and expanding 4-H opportunities. A 10-year 4-H member, L.C. has contributed nearly 50 years of volunteer service to 4-H as a club leader, fair board member, and community supporter. When Oakland County Fair needed a new livestock building, L.C. accepted the challenge of raising funds and constructing a new facility. In 11 months, $62,000 were procured along with 31 volunteers for building the 4-H barn. After this success, LC was asked to assist with upgrading and reviving the Oakland County Fair. Under his leadership, a federal grant historically made of $675,000, the largest historical grant awarded in Michigan, was secured to renovate the historical Ellis Barn. The grant was matched with $1.3 million in private donations that helped the barn become the best-known museum of 4-H exhibits. The fair campus now spans 118 acres and boasts of 110,000 visitors, 600 exhibitors, and 250 family campers annually. Presently, LC serves as the Michigan State University Extension Committee for 4-H fairs. Michigan 4-H is pleased to have nominated L.C. Scramlin for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, L.C.
Thank you so much. And all my friends and relatives are the ones that are back here watching their watches because they don't believe I can speak anything in just 3 minutes. So, and they're probably right. But I just truly have been blessed to be born into a 4-H family. My grandfather started our local 4-H club back in the 1920s. My mother was a general leader when I was born, so I had to learn the 4-H pledge before I even went to kindergarten, and to make the best better before I was old enough to join. And what a blessing, and I just want to thank my Lord and Savior for that blessing. Also, 4-H led me to Michigan State, where I met a 4-H alum from the other side of the state. For 47 years, she still thinks she can train me. I hope she keeps believing that. But Jackie, my wife, deserves this award because she stood behind me for all the work that I've done in 4-H and been a supporter. My big brother is here, and he's been the perfect big brother my whole life. Set me an example of why I wanted to be in 4-H, and everything drove me. For 30 years, we farmed in partnership. I don't know how many times he had to milk cows because I wasn't there doing 4-H stuff, but he always supported that, so thank you, Marvin. And my 3 kids, they showed me. Matt was the one that when I wanted to leave the county fair, when I seen how bad a shape it was, and go someplace else, he told me, you can go wherever you want, Dad, but that's my fair and I'm staying here. And with that, Dad decided he better dig in and try to make the best better, which I'd been trained to do from 4-H, and we're still there after 33 years as either president or general manager. And when the governor in Michigan canceled our state fair, the oldest state fair in America, in a single executive order, we looked around and finally found a man by the name of Blair Bowman, who's here today, who gave us the inspiration to start over again. I asked my wife, do you really think at our age we should start? She said, don't you think your 3 grandchildren deserve to have that experience to expand their 4-H? And so we dug in. Now, 7 years into that project, we still are the only private entity state fair in America. We have our own 4-H club, our youth advisory group. We became a 4-H club. 2 years in a row, they've won the state a gold award for being a 4-H club, joining urban and rural kids. The magic still works. All these people, they're the greatest magicians in the world. You know, you've seen the magic show where he holds out his hand, puts over his little handkerchief, pulls it away to a beautiful bouquet. These people have taken young people, taught them to pledge their head, heart, hands, and health, and to make the best better. And with just those kind of magic words, have all of a sudden there before your face another generation where 4-H has prepared them with leadership and goals to be better. Thank you all for all you've done for 4-H in this room. It blows my mind. Thank you.
Known for developing creative and innovative approaches for teaching math and science in cultural relevant ways, Peter J. Stortz of Alaska engaged the Native American youth in learning. This teaching method later became recognized as the Engaging University. Peter began his distinguished 4-H career in a dual role as Natural Resource Specialist and Director of the Uphand Woods 4-H Environmental Educational Center for the University of Wisconsin. He transferred to Alaska to serve as a District 4-H and Youth Agent and later became the Extension 4-H National Resource and Youth Development Specialist. Peter developed curriculum and taught courses in fishery, natural resources, cultural diversity, and camping. He presented at community, state, and national events, including the Alaska Forum on the Environment, Alaska State 4-H Volunteer Forum, National 4-H Resource Stewardship Conference, and National Association of Extension 4-H Agents. Nationally, Peter represented Alaska on the National Network for Science and Technology and National Network Outcomes. For 4 years, Peter chaired the Alaska State 4-H program and served as a principal investigator on several grants. Alaska 4-H is thrilled to have nominated Peter J. Stortz for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Peter.
Elsie, I have a family here as well who are cautious of my 3-minute timeline because I love to tell stories and I love being with people to talk about 4-H. But it hasn't started yet, right? Oh, it has? Oh. I share this stage with many people behind me. It's time to celebrate that and to recognize that. First, my parents, Roland and Margaret, who I never heard a prejudiced word ever. My grandparents, who came from the old country, my grandfather, bare feet, 6 years old through Ellis Island. They taught us what it meant to be family and what it meant to take care of people that didn't have as many things as they had. Certainly also my sisters, Barb and Kathy, who are with us tonight, and their husbands, what family means to us and what it means to take care of one another. But in addition to that, very importantly, my partner in life, my wife, who is with me in many 4-H activities and events, and who took care of our children when I'd be gone for 3 to 5 to 7 days on national events or in camping programs or whatever. Without them, I couldn't have done it. The other people that are important to me in my life, colleagues. A man named Jim Douglas from Alaska was my colleague to help me understand many things as I entered into the program, mentored me into the promotion and tenure program. Jim also was the head chug when we had the 4-H Volunteer Leader Program sponsored in Alaska. And 2 days before the event, we realized that we are representing Canada as well. No one was there to sing the Canadian anthem. Well, with 2 days preparation, I listened to how it sung. I'm on a tape recorder. I got to do that a cappella in front of 580 people. Jim, wherever you're at, you did that to me, okay? Thank you so much. In addition to that, an incredible person. If I could introduce a person that walked with Martin Luther King Jr. in Selma, Alabama, and who was one of the very first people that got youth at risk programs together, Dennis Crawford, and it's his birthday today as well. Those people were very important to me, in addition to Edgar Boone from North Carolina, just to let you know. Along the way, I learned many things in 4-H. I learned many things in life, but I'll end with this. If you have the choice between being right or being wrong, or if you have the choice between being kind or being wrong, always choose being kind. That always has seemed to work out for me just fine. Thank you very much.
Thanks, That's it. Now we'll wrap it up.
Knowledgeable, resourceful, and dedicated are just a few characteristics that describe Charles Chuck Todd of Washington, a 38 4-H volunteer in King County, Washington. Chuck has stretched his influence nationwide. A professional electrical engineering, Chuck has been a valuable resource in partnering with 4-H as a co-author of the first nationally juried publication of 4-H computer science and represents 4-H on the U.S. Department of Energy, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math initiative, also known as STEM. His efforts have led to the Trainer STEM curriculum that has reached over more than 500 youth from grades kindergarten through 12th grade. The curriculum has inspired young people with a first-time passion for science, building a foundation for STEM education. Besides contributing with engineering skills, Chuck has served in many areas of leadership in Washington 4-H from the county to state level. Chuck is a role model for the youth-adult partnership and an inspiration for all youth and adults involved in the Washington 4-H. It is with great honor that Washington 4-H nominated Charles Chuck Todd for the National 4-H Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, Chuck is unable to attend this year's ceremony as he is fulfilling his role at the Washington 4-H Leaders Forum. Whoa, talk about service to others. It is obvious why these folks have been nominated into the National 4-H Hall of Fame. They have a shared passion for teaching, mentoring, and raising up young people to make the best better. Thank you, Marco, for that heartfelt presentation. Congratulations, National 4-H Hall of Fame laureates. What amazing stories of wisdom. Thank you for your 4-H contribution and your piece of the rich 4-H history. If you remain after the close of the ceremonies, we would like to take a group picture on stage. Before we are dismissed for this reception, there are several other individuals we would like to thank. Starting with our photographers and video technician, Edwin Rimsberg, for capturing special moments, and Dan Tabler for covering our more casual celebration. We also want to thank Jeffries, Greenworld, and Flores for the boutonnieres and corsagers, A&T Industries for sponsoring the lapel pins, 4-H National Headquarters for financing the programs, the Dr. Mike Davis Family 4-H Endowment for innovative and excellence for their contributions of the memory books, and the National 4-H Council for facilities. Please check the program for other sponsors contributing for the videotaping and youth participants' lodging. Finally, we thank the 3 National 4-H Hall of Fame partners, National 4-H Council, National 4-H Headquarters, and the National Association of Extension 4-H Agents for their efforts in organizing tonight's ceremony. As our time comes to close for the National 4-H Hall of Fame ceremony, let us once more congratulate our 2019 National 4-H Hall of Fame laureates. We honor you for your countless hours and devotion to making the best better. Thank you for your contribution to the 4-H and its youth. Laureates, please stand and be recognized. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your evening. I've had a great time celebrating with you.